This is section 3.3. We're going to prove that lines are parallel. This is what we did last section. We learned that when lines are parallel, four things happen. Alternate interior angles are congruent, alternate exterior angles are congruent, corresponding angles are congruent, and consecutive interior angles are supplementary. In this section, you're going to see that the converses are true also. So, if two lines are cut by a transversal so that the corresponding angles are congruent, then the lines that make them are parallel. That's called the converse of the corresponding angle postulate. It's postulate 16. Now, the same thing follows for all of these theorems. There's a converse for the alternate interior angle theorem. If the alternate interior angles are congruent, then the lines that make them are parallel. If the alternate exterior angles are congruent, then the lines that make them are parallel. If the consecutive interior angles are supplementary, then the lines are parallel. So we're going to use that to prove that lines A and B are parallel.
Jersey, O'Connor, please report to security. Jersey, O'Connor, please report to security.
What kind of angles are these? They're alternate exterior angles. So we're going to use the converse of the alternate exterior angle theorem. So yes, you can prove that the lines are parallel because the alternate exterior angles are congruent. That's what that theorem says. Same thing here. These angles are corresponding. So yes, you can show that the lines are parallel. This is the converse of the corresponding angle postulate. Number 3, the measure of angle 1 and the measure of angle 2 add up to 180. They're telling you that these two angles are supplementary. Well, these are alternate interior angles. If they add up to 180, that doesn't make the lines parallel. You need these angles to be the same. So they could still be the same. They could both be 90. If that happens, then the lines are parallel. But can you prove that they're parallel? No. Again, it doesn't mean they're not. They could be. Angle 1 and angle 2 need to be congruent. We don't know that. So we don't know if angle 1 and angle 2 are congruent. Find the value of x that's going to make these lines parallel. Well, there's 4 lines here. One of them you don't need. Pretend that line isn't even there. It has no bearing on these angles because it doesn't touch them. These are alternate interior angles. If you want to make these lines parallel, then these alternate interior angles need to be congruent. That means their measures need to be the same. So we're going to subtract 2x from both sides. We're going to add 1 to both sides. We're going to divide by 3. If x is 15, these lines will be parallel, these ones. If x is not 15, then the lines will not be parallel. Same idea with this one. There's a line that you don't need. Just focus on the 3 that you need. Remember, this chapter is about angle pairs that are made with 3 lines, not 4. So block that out. Cover it with your finger or your pencil or scratch it out. But these are alternate exterior angles. if you want the lines to be parallel, those alternate exterior angles need to be congruent. So take their measures, set them equal. We'll subtract 2x from both sides. We'll add 52. X is 55. Well, it doesn't have to be 55, but if it's 55, then the lines will be parallel. If X is anything else, the lines will not be parallel. Okay, we'll do one more. Find the line that has nothing to do with the two angles. Find the relationship that the two angles have that they give you. These are consecutive interior angles. If you want the lines to be parallel, what do you know about consecutive interior angles? They need to add up to 180. Be careful on this one. This is the only one of the relationships that we study where those angles need to be supplementary. Combine your like terms. I'm gonna need some help with that one. What's 153 divided by 17? It'll be 9. If X is 9, then these lines will be parallel. If it's anything different, then they won't be. Okay, I lied, so we'll do one more. We don't need that line. These angles are corresponding. If you want the lines to be parallel, your corresponding angles need to be congruent to each other. So we'll subtract 13x from both sides. We'll add 3 to both sides. Divide by 2. If x is 4, these lines will be parallel. We're going to prove the converse of the alternate interior angle theorem next time.